Boom. Hello. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Well Launched Live. I'm Kevin, the owner of Well Launched. Well Launched is a brand management agency. We specialize in beautiful websites, efficient and effective booking platforms, and AI virtual voice assistants. Y'all, tapping with me. Check me out at https semicolon backslash well-launched.com and check me out. Shop with me. Rock with me. But regardless, today we're not here to talk just about that. We're here to talk about the reality that life is about repetition. I want to try something new because if this works, I'm going to keep trying it. What if I started like this? Have you ever noticed that a wash cycle, uh, have you ever noticed that a wash cycle in a washing machine rinses? It washes your clothes, then it rinses, and then it repeats, right? Um, if you have a good washing machine, your clothes will get clean that way. I don't know if that, I, I don't know if that hit. I got to work on the analogy. It just popped in my mind because of what the title for today is, right? It's rinse, repeat, and you'll clean up for sure. So, yeah, I got to find a clever way to start these out. Always got to promote my business, but then I want to get you hooked in with a good clever thing. But anyway, guys, what's on my mind, what's on my heart today is the importance of repetition, right? So clearly it's not morning, right? Whatever. But this morning, what I was doing is, my kids, they were, part of their lessons today was writing and copying, right? So like writing, but like writing was in their mind, but also copying down something like from a book, right? So they made these books out of, cardboard, like cardboard paper. And then one of my sons was copying a book, right? Copying the book Sarah and I wrote entitled Whoa. You can find that on Amazon. It's WHOA exclamation point. A little drop of some sales in right there. But he was copying that book down. And my other son was coming up with a story in his mind and writing that down. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, wow, this is so cool. And so they're writing, and I'm looking at the way they're writing their letters and the way that they're working through, how to sound out. Like for my one son who's coming up with a story, he's thinking of words, right, and then sounding them out, and then trying to figure out how to write them. And then my other son is writing words, but as he's copying them down, he's sounding them out, trying to figure out how to read them, right? And they're practicing this, and I'm just thinking, wow, they're gonna be so good at this, right? One day, like so good at both writing and coming up with stories, communicating their ideas. It's just going to take repetition, right? They're just going to have to do it again and again and again. And so, I'm trying my best to make sure that I don't bog them down with too much pressure, right? As a perfectionist, it's like I want to put pressure on them, but I got to try not to put too much pressure, but just encourage them to be excellent, right? But then I actually got it twisted. So before they started writing, they wanted to count money. So they've got these Pokemon balls, and they keep dollars and coins in there. And so they wanted to count it. They're, Daddy, what can I buy with this? I've got 9 coins. And I'm like, well, kids, it's not about how many coins you have. It's about the value of the coins, right? Or the dollars even. Like I could have $100, but there's a big difference if, some of them are $10 bills and if some of them are $1 bills, right? So we were talking about the value of money, and they wanted to count them, right? So I'm like, okay, so a quarter's worth 25 cents. How much is that? And they're like, 25. And then you're going through the line, okay, what about a dime? What about a nickel? What about a penny? And then repeat. And then, so how much is a quarter worth? And they're like, I'm like, 25, right? And I'm teaching them how to count these things, and I'm going, what was good for me? Like, how did I learn how to count these things? And I realized a lot of it is assigning a value to a thing and then repeating, right? You know, So that was happening, and so I'm looking at their experience as youth, trying to learn how to count, how to read, how to do these things, how to write, and I'm going, man, a lot of repetition, you know. So one thing about it for them is, as a parent, is how can I make sure that they are enjoying this so that they keep doing it, right? Because as soon as they stop enjoying it, they won't want to do it, and then they limit their ability to be successful at it because they don't put in the reps, right? Now let me translate to, I'm reading Leviticus. Right now it's just Leviticus time, right? So I'm reading it, and I almost don't want to tell you what it was about, but I'll tell you. It was a passage about how to deal with if your body is having excretions of various kinds, right? And what to do depending on the type of excretion and how long you're unclean for, and what to do, how to get clean, right? And so these things are happening, and there's a lot of like repetition. Like this, do this, and then do this. And then if this happens, do this. And make sure that this is done. And when this is done, make sure this is done. And this is done, this is done, this is done. And I'm going, wow, you know, this is very interesting when I'm talking about excretions, right? Maybe I should grow up and be more mature or whatever. But I'm reading that and I'm going, man, it's a lot of repetition. If I read this with, you know, open eyes and interpret it with an open heart and don't just get bored about reading rules, right? Then I'll get to know more about the character of God. And so I thought about what it meant and so on. And I just thought, man, it's interesting how repetitious God is when it comes to his character, right? Because his character doesn't change. God is the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever. He's been here forever. Like he's eternal, right? And so the things of God, he repeats over and over and over to us about his goodness, about his kindness, about his wrath, about his justice, right? About what he wants us to do. The Bible is almost just repetitions. And for us to dig into that, right? To accept that and to do the reps with the Word of God, we come to know more clearly who God is, right? And we can apply it more readily to our lives the more we are, the more that muscle of, reading the Word has grown, right? And so we can apply who God is to who we are, like we talked about a few videos ago, and we can live our lives according to that, and things will go well, right? You can't skip the reps. Like you can't skip the reps on the reading, on the counting, on the reading the Bible, right? I mean, if you were just thinking about getting in shape, right? How many push-ups do I need to do? Okay, I'm going to do 100 today. I'm going to do 100 tomorrow. Like when you stop doing push-ups, your muscles stop, you'll stop getting gains, right? Reps are the name of the game in whatever case. Like if you're learning something new, there's X amount of hours you have to study something or before you can count yourself as a master. And even when you can count yourself as a master of something, having mastered a thing, a skill, a trade, something like that, the best of the best of the best are always renewing their knowledge base. They're always doubling down on what they know so that they can get better and better and better, right? It's just like the washing machine. You put the load in the wash, you put the soap in, the water runs, the thing spins, right? Then maybe the water drains, fills back up, spins. How many times? I don't know how many times it does it, but it does it enough times if you have a good washer to clean your clothes. And then it drains and it spins all that extra water out as many times as need be, right? To let go of the grime and the soap suds and all those things. And then when you pull those clothes out the washer, they should be clean. If it's not clean, you got a broken washer machine, right? But the name of the game is reps. If you rinse and repeat the right steps over and over and over again, you will clean up. Boy, I'm telling you, right? So when it comes to business, right? So I'm applying this to myself like, okay, I need X amount of clients, right? I have got to call people, reach out, get to know people, put myself out there. I've got to do it, right? And as I learn and as I'm trying to become more efficient at those things, I should be learning new skills and new ways of fine tuning. I should be fine tuning my process till I get a nice, good process that works for me, and then just rinse and repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. And you know how people talk about money and they say, man, you really cleaned up, man. Like you really cashed out, right? You really cleaned up. Like in business, I assume that if you do that, you will clean up. Like let's say you're an employee even, and you need a raise or you want some more recognition or whatever the case may be. If you improve your processes and then rinse and repeat those dope processes, you'll clean up. Ooh, you'll clean up big time. I mean, the people that hire you, that employ you, they'll see the value, right? And even if they don't see the value, you have a better reputation to go be seen more accurately by another company that'll value you at the value that you're worth, right? It is never, ever, ever the right thing to just give up and recede back to your original programming. Here's what I mean. Well, let me preface it with this. Sometimes you got a factory reset because you might have the wrong practices or you might have the wrong methods or you might need to just wipe the slate a little bit, but you don't stay there, right? And that shouldn't be like a slow reversion because you don't want to put in the reps. You know what I mean? Like we should want to always be going forward, right? So, I was trying to go somewhere, but I kind of forgot where I was going. I don't know if you saw the blankness in my face. But anyway, it's never good. What was I saying? So it's never good to just revert back. Right. It's not good. We should all be striving in every arena that we're in to grow. When it comes to kids growing up and gaining the intelligence that they need to thrive in a world as an older person, like when they become teens and adults, whether it's adults wanting to strive in their job and grow and gain more money or save more money or whatever it is so they can take care of their families, or business owners striving to grow your business, right? Or, whatever the case, or, Christians who want to grow in their relationship with God. Or people that don't know God, who want to seek God and find God, who really sincerely want to know what this God thing is all about. You put in the reps. You go after it. Like the Lord says, seek and you shall find. But he also says, abide in me. Like once you found me, abide in me. Abiding doesn't just mean sit around. Like, I'm here. Abiding is walking with God. I'll use this as an example. The story is called The Sheep That Didn't Put in His Reps, okay? I'm making this up as I go, so be patient with me. So you have a sheep that's walking with the shepherd, walking with the flock, walking. And all the sheep are just putting in the reps. There's one foot in front of the other. Boom. Walking with the shepherd. Yeah, right? But then problem sheep McGee decides, man, I'm tired. I just want to stop. Look over here. What's over here? So problem sheep McGee just starts to drift away over to the side. It's tired of the regular process. He thinks it's a monotonous process of walking foot in front of the other after the shepherd. So the sheep wanders off, and then the sheep gets way down the road. And then the sheep looks back and sees the flock way over there, but at this point, he's so not used to walking in step and putting in reps that he's like, I think I'll be better off over here. Little did the sheep know about his own self, that the sheep don't know what he's doing, right? He don't know what he's doing. So right now he's just out in the wilderness. Now, there's two versions of the story. The first version of the story is the sheep wanders off a cliff or wanders into nowhere and dies, right? Because he can't provide for himself. He can't do anything for himself. He reverted back to factory reset. He reverted all the way back to, I'm just a random little animal out here. He couldn't provide and he died. Second version of the story is the shepherd put the 99 in a cave, put something in front of the cave so they couldn't get out, went looking for the sheep, found the sheep on the cliff before he died, or found the sheep somewhere before he died and fed the sheep and got the sheep and brought the sheep on back to the flock to say, man, come on now. Put in them reps. The sheep is now saved in this version of the story, right? Great story, amazing story. But like my hope, right? So first and foremost, Because all these things come to my mind based on the Bible, right? So the Christian's hope is that when we are truly in the arms of the shepherd, if we're truly amongst the flock of the Lord's sheep, if we wander, the Lord will collect his people. He will not lose even one of his sheep, right? And if there's a sheep who so happens to be lost, it's my opinion, based on the scriptures, that sheep had never dedicated, was never truly dedicated, was not truly amongst the fold of the sheep, had not truly decided to follow the shepherd. Amongst the fold of the shepherd. Never truly decided to follow the shepherd, was just kind of there in the meantime. So for everyone who's truly dedicated to that shepherd, whether we for some reason think we're better off on our own or we drift off, he will find us and he'll bring us back. But let me relate that, right, to our walk with him, to our abiding in him, our discipleship, our sanctification. The Lord says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. What that means is put in the work, read the word, fellowship with the people. Don't get lazy. Flee from sin, right? Put the deeds of the flesh to death daily, right? Put in those reps. I'll say it like this, and hopefully I don't get too off track. But when it comes to especially sins of the flesh, like lust and things like that, the mechanism by which we flee from that particular one, and I think every other one, but that one being relevant, especially in today's day and age, especially for men, it's a muscle that never stays big. It's a muscle that I think the muscle to flee from any sin, I'll just use that as an example, is a muscle that never stays big. And so you always have to be putting in reps to make that muscle strong. And the reason I brought up lust is because today's society is so sexualized and flesh everywhere, blah, 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 right? So it's kind of like, if you're caught slipping for a moment, your mind will get wrapped up in a spiral of that stuff. So you have to keep those muscles strong. And the same applies to every sin that you might be struggling with, right? Whether it's a sin of, that is manifesting spiritually and you feel like it's affecting your relationship with God, or if it's a sin that's causing you to be unfaithful as a business owner or an employee or father or mother or husband or child or any of your other roles or responsibilities, you got to work those muscles out. They might look big right now, but if you stop repping and start slacking, boy, you'll be tripping. You'll be down the rabbit hole. You'll be way over there, right? Like, what in the world's going on? At risk, right? So we ought to keep putting in those reps. So how did I get there? Because I need to get on back. So when it comes to faith, right? Faith in the Lord, right? We have to put in those reps. We have to stay true to who God is, to who Christ is, and we have to live out our lives as though we believe that, right? Like James talks about, faith without works is dead, right? The works prove the faith because the works they flow out from the faith that we get from God. Now let's look at our businesses real quick. Let's look at our families. Let's look at our responsibilities, right? I'll use myself as an example. So I have clients that, like, my clients, most of the work that I have to do that's like mind-numbing for me happens in the beginning of my relationship with my clients, because I have to learn them. I have to learn their needs. I have to learn the things that they want. I have to apply all their needs into the functionality of the things that my business offers. And it's a lot of testing and retesting and configuration. And so there's a lot of work on the front end. But just like with everything else, I'm adapting my practices. I'm striving to be, more efficient in all these things, which will help. So I get better and better the more I do it, the more clients I onboard to Well Launched. I just get better and better and stronger, right? And the more efficient I get, the more, but the more I do, the more people I'll be able to serve, and those reps will just, not only will I clean up, in terms of the success of my business and being able to take care of my family, but I'll help other people get clean because my business so happens to help your business so you can clean up, right? So those are the reps I have to put in. I have to sit behind a computer and code and program things, and I have to manipulate pathways, and I've got to input information and change up things and think critically on how to best serve my people, and I have to remain faithful to the correct way of doing those things which will best support you, right? So in me putting in those reps and rinsing and repeating the appropriate steps, I'll get even better at this, right? So I need to probably implement some of these things. Like right now, I'm just kind of talking, it's on my mind. I need to implement these things to these videos so that you find value in every step of the way as we go through these videos. But yeah, it's just about repetition. Keep doing it. And it's not mundane if you appreciate the process. This is the last thing I'm going to say, because I don't know how long I've been on, but I think we're going for a while. So last thing I'll say is the best way to successfully rinse, repeat, and then clean up is to value the process. Value the process, right? Starting at the top with our relationship with God and our sanctification. Don't think this is just a chore. Don't think we just called to know God as a chore or obey God as a chore. It's a blessing. It's a privilege to know God, to be able to obey him, to know what he loves and what he hates, and to be able to apply that to our lives and to be benefited and blessed by that. So let your discipleship, let the discipleship be the thing that you learn to enjoy. The outcome will be beautiful, but don't wait for the outcome to start enjoying yourself. Enjoy the process. Now, you as a business owner, you want to get from 0 clients to 1,000 clients, right? 1,000 clients is great, but enjoy the process. Otherwise, the mundane, repetitive tasks of your everyday will destroy you. I know from experience, because I've started a few businesses in my 20s that I don't have to this day. But Well Launched will be here till I can pass it on to my kids, and either they can sell it or pass it on to their kids, right? So I'm learning to love the mundane and the repetitive now so that I can enjoy the process from start to finish, right? If you're an employee, enjoy the process of your day to day. And if you have to be to work early and you suffer from being late, enjoy the process of getting out the house early, right? Sometimes it just takes a shift of the mind, but just remember that these processes are in place to help you, to benefit you. But not only that, it's so you can benefit others, that you can bring value and value to others. Let the meaning of your life transcend throughout all the steps. Don't just wait till the end. Enjoy the rinsing. Enjoy the repeating. Then I think you'll enjoy the cleaning up all the more. I hope that was concise. I hope that was helpful. Now I got some work to do, a lot of work to do, to be honest. But it's been a pleasure speaking with you. For now, be well. Give your life over to Jesus and love God and be blessed. And if you have a business or you're an entrepreneur, hit me up. Get Well Launched, okay? That's going to be it for now. Until next time. My cup's in my hand, but peace.